Welcome back, everyone. It's the Shoal Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Joe, joined by my other hosts, Ben and Chaz. How you guys doing? You okay?
Wagwan G.
Wagwan G.
Oh my God. We're back, bro.
Oh no. It is great to be back doing season 3, episode 2 now. But of course, before we get into any juicy James Bond, No Time to Die goodness today, we've got to give a big, huge shout out to our listeners. Season 3 finally on its way. Getting it under the carpet. Please hit that notification bell. Drop us a like or a follow. We appreciate the support. We do have a really good lineup for you in season 3. So make sure you are staying tuned on our socials. If you've been with us since the start, thanks for joining, basically. This is going to be a great season. Last week we had Lillian Crawford from Little White Lies magazine. That was a great podcast. And yeah, she had some amazing things to say about Jupiter Ascending, which was one of like the biggest flops of the 2010s. So if you haven't given that a listen yet, you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, anywhere, whatever we've put on our link tree, basically. And over the next 3 months, you can look forward to more reviews of like Dune, Eternals. We're going to do the Matrix trilogy at some point. We're going to look at Star Wars Visions, and then obviously the Matrix 4 is coming out. But today we are looking at the very, very long delayed 007 James Bond No Time to Die. And we're going to have a good review of it. We did put a review out at the start of the week. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, a big shout out to our resident host, Charlie. He has pretty much completed his first professional gig as the audio description script writer for a Star Wars project on Disney Plus. So big congrats to Chaz. You can go and check out Star Wars. Is it Galaxy Sounds?
Of Sounds. It's called,
Galaxy of Sounds. Yeah, it's a great like ASMR collection, like a like these 10-minute long montages of amazing clips from the Star Wars universe, and they're great to relax to and listen to. And Chaz's AD script is just as descriptive and just as beautiful as the sounds. So yeah, go and check that out. Give him a support. We're very proud of him here at Shoal. And here's to hoping he's ADing the Mandalorian season 3 or the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I can't like discuss anything about it, and I want to.
Yeah,
but you know,
how was it working for Disney?
It was weird, man. They're very specific about what they want from their projects. There's a few times when I'd say like Princess Leia, and then not realize that at that point in the saga she's actually General Leia and stuff like that. So they're very specific about, which is like, you know, fair play. Like if you're Disney, why the fuck wouldn't you be like that? You know?
Yeah. No, of course.
But it's annoying when you're writing it and you actually think about, oh yeah, well obviously she's General Leia, not Princess Leia.
They're quite strict with the names, and actually I think recently they renamed Boba Fett's ship. Like, it used to be called the Slave One. It's been called that for like 30 years.
Yeah. Because I wrote that in one of the scripts, and they said it wasn't. They wanted it removed.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah, but like
I don't agree with.
Do you reckon it's like the connotation, like
yeah,
slave
absolutely,
and stuff
yeah,
like that?
100%. It's like, you know, imagine if Disney had beef with birds and they were like, oh, you can't call it the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Beef with birds. That's a really good name with like for a podcast.
Yeah, beef with birds.
Yeah.
You're a very frustrated bird watcher living in Shropshire.
They about the Force. They're really like picky about how they want the Force to be like portrayed.
That's not how the Force works.
You know how it always used to be like a bit of a religious thing and a bit like ephemeral, didn't it? You know, now it's very much like people have the abilities or people don't have the abilities. It's
like a superpower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I described it as like spiritual and all this, and they didn't like that.
Well, we'll have to re-edit it and do the Chaz cut.
Yeah, I don't think Disney would be very happy with that, lad. But yeah,
Charlie Vickers' Star Wars Galaxy of Sounds.
You're gonna pay me like they did. Yeah,
We'll put it in a 4:3 aspect ratio. We'll make it black and white. and we'll use your own vision, mate.
Oh, getting onto that Star Wars
Yeah.
Visions.
Yeah.
Is that out yet? Like I've seen
It
it on
is.
Disney
It
Plus.
is.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
watched the whole thing, but I've watched like maybe 4 or 5 of what I saw were the good episodes according to Twitter.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. But I think we are doing a full episode on that in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that.
A side note,
yeah.
Have you guys seen What If?
I have, yeah.
What do you think?
I really like it.
It's
Have you
fucking
seen
class,
What If,
isn't it? It's fucking
no,
class.
I've not watched it. Yeah, I've seen some clips. Like I saw the one about what's her name? Being Captain like Britain or whatever instead of
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a bit
Peggy,
cringe
yeah.
that, but
it was kind of badass, but like yeah, it was like
I
that's
didn't realize that What If was going to have like such an impact on the MCU.
like
I
was
thought it
saying
was just going to
to
be this like,
Kieran as well.
animation.
Yeah, like it's very much connected to what everyone thinks the Spider-Man one's going to be about, isn't it?
Yeah,
Or
but
like even Avengers in the future, like stopping this, well, I don't want to spoil it, but stopping
what
the
the
bad
whole
guy.
multiverse thing.
Yeah.
I might have to give it a
they're
proper watch
definitely building up to this huge multiversal war, and they've really hinted at it strongly this season, like showing up in some of the other films. And I think Ben, you know this because I sent it to you on Instagram. But in episode 9 of not 8 of What If, when the Watcher is fighting a character that I won't say because I want to spoil it for Ben.
Yeah.
There's a moment where they're going through all these different universes, and I swear you see Felucia and Mustafar from Star Wars.
That's mint. Love
that. I mean,
Disney just absolutely tripping.
They're just flexing all their intellectual properties, aren't
I'll
they?
be audio describing the next Avengers. What are you saying?
Yeah, there we go. We're bigging you up. Yeah, no, What If is great. Obviously, I wish we could do more episodes and talk about all these great TV shows that are coming out at the moment. Like speaking of other ones, everyone's been going crazy for the Squid Game.
Yeah, I've not seen that
this
though.
week.
It's
I
on my
haven't
list,
watched it either.
Yeah.
And then Midnight Mass as well from the same guy who brought us The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor.
All right.
It's a spooky season, so there's some really good stuff out at the moment. And
you know that Fear Street that we watched, Joe?
Yeah.
They should have brought that out now. Like, why did they bring that out when they did? It seemed a bit weird. That would have been perfect for Halloween.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, they missed a trick there.
Well, we will be doing a Halloween special episode at the end of this month. So if you're excited for that, you can pop a film down in the comments below. Let us know if you want us to watch a scary movie to talk about. We might talk about the Fear Street movies because you and I, Chaz, we did watch all 3.
Yeah,
pretty much
like in one night.
Yeah, in like one night. And we actually really liked them, not going to lie.
Yeah. Really
so we'll definitely talk about those, maybe the new Halloween movie as well. But until then, it is time for James Bond.
It's not time to die.
No, it's no time to no time to podcast.
No time for Bond.
So straight off the bat, I went
this is shit. No,
Whoa!
It wasn't shit.
I think we should probably have a little segue here first, though. If you've not watched the film, we will probably drop spoilers. So
yeah, true.
That's very true.
If you are listening, and this is probably a good time to go and book some tickets, go watch it, and then come press play once you've finished.
Yeah, absolutely. No Time to Die. I went to see it on its opening day on last Thursday. So it's been out for like a week now already. And I did write a review on my way home. So the review that you can see on our socials was written by me. It was my opinion. I'm excited to know what you guys think of that. And we'll talk about it. I did give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Bit generous, lad. Bit generous.
Well, yeah, maybe I could have gone 3, but I gave it 3.5 just because, I mean, well, I can also show you, like, read out what I actually wrote for it. But I think I gave it 3.5 because 3 just seemed too mean and 4 seemed
I gave it
a lot.
2.5, me.
Yeah, I've seen your letterbox rating, but no, so I did give it 3.5 and I wrote, ignoring the franchise's recent stigma, No Time to Die is a worthwhile departure for a modern take on a cliched character. And with Craig's final outing as Bond, it is his most emotional, and oddly, it's his most grounded. But a weak villain and an anticlimactic ending aside, never has a Bond film felt so little like a Bond film. And I think in this case, that's a good thing because if I think mentally, if I think about it as a Bond film, I'm really disappointed. But if I think of it as just like a good action thriller, it was decent. It was good. Nothing wrong with it really inherently, but as a Bond film, I think comparing it to other films in the franchise, there is a lot wrong with it. But
particularly the Craig ones.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's the weakest of that I've seen of the Craig ones, I think.
Yeah,
Interesting. Well, it's interesting you say that because it's actually currently tracking, if we want to believe the rumors, and it's all a bit sketchy until it's all said and done, but it's currently tracking on about the level of Skyfall, which is the most successful Bond film to date. So yeah, it's interesting. Like kind of what we think of the film as to how it's performing. I mean, you could. It's a bit of a maybe that's opening a bit of a debate there because obviously it's been delayed for so long and so much hype behind it. A huge amount of advertising has gone into it. And obviously it's probably the biggest film since cinemas have reopened, right? I mean,
Yeah, maybe
Peter
Tenet,
Rabbit?
but
Yeah.
do you mean like
I don't know. Tenet was a bit of an anomaly, wasn't it?
yeah, true, yeah.
And I would probably go so far as to say Shang-Chi has beaten James Bond in terms of like being the first proper film that has gotten people back to the cinemas, because Shang-Chi has made a really large amount of money.
That's true. That is true.
But I think I agree with you. Like No Time to Die, like James Bond there's a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah,
And I
it
think
feels like cinema, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people will have a lot of
Time for it.
Pre-COVID memories of, yeah, I remember going to see Skyfall or Spectre in the cinema, and I want to feel that feeling again. And I think in the case of me, that was very true for me, I think. And I'm kind of glad because on the morning it came out, I will admit I did go looking for it on the torrent sites. But I was really surprised to know that it wasn't released on digital platforms at the same time, like other companies have been doing.
Right.
Stages
So
only.
that, yeah, so it kind of like it gave me that kick up the arse to actually go to the cinema, support the film industry, and even though my review of the film speaks for itself, I think we can all agree it was a nice return to kind of a classic feeling cinema.
I really enjoyed my favorite part of any Bond film is like the title sequence. And this was a particularly good one. I did enjoy it. I really like the
Because
song
you
as
fancy
well.
Billie Eilish?
No, that's nothing to do with it. Like, come on. Don't
No,
tell me like
saying,
that.
no. I was saying
bro.
this. I was saying this as well. Like I was saying to Joe earlier, the Billie Eilish song, because obviously they released the song before
Ages ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they always release a song a few kind of like couple of months, a month before the film was due to come out, so they let it get to kind of it's part of the advertising. They often get to number one, don't they? Especially here in the UK. They're and it's big artists. What was the last one? Sam Smith. The one before was Adele. Like number one artists, and then boom. And the Billie Eilish one, yeah, you're right. It came out in early 2020.
Yeah.
Like it's been like 18 months since that song was released, and like. I mean, I loved it at the time it came out, but it was sometimes with the Bond film, it's a very unique song, isn't it? It's themed towards the film, and when it came, obviously it's Billie Eilish, it did extremely well. But like, I was sitting there in the title sequence, like, oh my god, like I love this song.
Class,
Like,
isn't it?
I've not heard this. Like, when did this song come out? This is
I
this
did
is a really old
honestly
song.
get chills when like the old-fashioned Eon font, like from the old like 1970s Bond movies, when that showed up and it was like Eon Production, MGM, and like the classic 1970s circles. And then it went into the song, and that was great. Yeah, I did get some chills, not gonna lie.
I think it's the best. That's the best song from the Craig era of like Bonds.
Oh, I don't know. I think the first one, the Casino Royale.
Which one was
You Know
Casino
My
Royale?
Name. You Know My Name.
Oh, see, for me, Adele is just iconic.
Yeah, Skyfall is good.
Overrated, mate. Overrated.
No,
I think this is better. This one's better, man.
I want to find out. I'll tell you what we should do. We should find out
Skyfall
which
as a song is boring.
Oh, but it kicks. Like it goes.
Nah.
It goes
hard. It goes hard.
It does.
Too hard.
No, we should. Because I remember the Adele one staying number one for a long time. So we should definitely find out. Yeah, we should find out which is the most successful, because that would be a good indication.
Probably, to be honest, if you look at most successful Bond songs, I mean, bigger artists have come along pre Craig.
Paul
McCartney,
I think you mean,
Madonna.
like Craig era though.
Yeah, we're definitely
Yeah.
focusing on the Craig era, just because I think that's what we've like grown up with.
Yeah,
I know Pierce Brosnan was making films when we were alive, but like we were like 2, so it doesn't exactly count. But yeah, no, I would personally, it's got to be Adele for me. It also won an Oscar. Just gonna drop that in.
Did it?
Yeah. Adele
Mental.
won an Oscar. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, I know Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack, and it slaps, doesn't it?
Oh,
It did
so
slap.
good.
Hans Zimmer, what a busy guy.
I know, he's done Dune as well, hasn't he?
I know.
Literally, the second I saw his name, but let's face it, he probably did the soundtrack in like 2019, right? So like the second I saw I saw his name in its credits, I was like, yes, go on, like it's gonna be sick. That's already.
Man like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
Go on.
Yeah.
About to drop a banger,
So on all of these notes, do you think the film was worth the wait? Because it was supposed to come out in November 2019. It's almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
I don't think a film has ever been delayed that much.
Not
in recent memory.
Yeah, that's
2 whole years, pretty much.
Yeah, that's mental, isn't it?
And we also had one director dropout case. Danny Boyle was attached to direct it. Huge buzz around him because obviously Sam Mendes did the last 2, Skyfall and Spectre. And I think everyone was really excited for another great British director to come along, and I think everyone was thinking Danny Boyle was overdue to direct one. I don't know why.
Do you reckon he will do one?
I don't know. It's like that's like asking if Christopher Nolan would do one.
I don't think he will now. I think
no.
Tenet was like his fuck you to him not being told to do one or asked to do one.
Yeah. Probably was, yeah.
Yeah. It felt like it when you were
How well do you think Danny Boyle would have done as director?
I think Bond would be in the toilet shooting up heroin if he was doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it'd be dead gritty.
MI6, inventor of the silencer, the womanizer,
and the syringe.
Jesus.
I think it'd be mint. I'd love to see him do it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't like to see Nolan do one though.
No,
not now.
There'd be like some kind of digital countdown to some like I don't know, like some kind of Swiss Hadron Collider thing that's going to rupture a black hole, and James Bond has to stop this.
But he has to do it in reverse, and in black and white, and he can't remember if he's tattooed himself or whether it's all in his brain and he's dreaming it.
And then he's driving down Oxford Street, right? In his Aston Martin, and then the Joker's at the end going like, hit me, come on, I want you to.
For fuck's sake.
Sorry.
And then Christian Bale comes out and goes, it was all just a magic trick.
Yeah, there we go. and then right at the end of the movie, just as Craig is about to get hit by all of the missiles, he just looks out over the horizon, and the horizon starts to bend, and you hear like the Inception horns.
Yeah. And then Leo comes out, and he's just like spinning his little fucking totem.
Oh yeah. James Bond dies, but then right at the end, like M spins like
the totem, the whole buildings just keep spinning because that's so totem.
Wow, we're very creative, aren't we? Yeah. So I think we've established that none of us would want to see a Christopher Nolan Bond film.
No, I think it's interesting because I love one of the things I loved about this film, and you're probably going to slate me for saying I loved something about it, but in particular, I felt like, I mean, it's always been looking back, like I remember, it's always been there in definitely every Craig film. There's a lot of like kind of a lot of things that as a viewer are inferred that you have to maybe piece together. They're not necessarily always complex things to piece together, but there is something there for you to do, almost like a bit of audience participation for you to draw the lines. And one of the things I loved about No Time to Die is I felt there was a lot of that. Like there was kind of a lot of hints dropped, a lot of like symbols in kind of places, and it just allowed you as the viewer just to kind of thread the needle through a few things and like connect with a few things, which I thought was really interesting. Like my favorite one, and this I was so hyped when this came true at the end of the film. Big spoiler here, by the way, guys, is when when James Bond puts Madeline Swan on the train, she instantly, like, the first thing she does is like touch her stomach. She grabs her stomach. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Oh
And
no,
then
that is
Oh,
cool.
that's
and
mint.
then
Yeah, nice.
obviously, like, we find out that, like, 5 years later when they see each other again, she now has a daughter who coincidentally is
Yeah.
like 4.5. So she was pregnant at the time, she knew, and she was grabbing her baby. I was like, oh my god, because obviously just a little bit earlier, the last stop after visiting the grave was that they were going to go home to Norway, and well, you can imagine that she would have told him then, that I'm
Yeah, yeah.
pregnant. So
No way, man.
I was like, oh snap! Oh dear, Joe. Oh dear.
Sorry.
Fucking hell. I didn't even pick up on that. You, for fuck's sake.
No way, lad.
No way, man.
Put that like, no way, that like.
Yeah, no, that is
Oh.
good. I do think it was definitely a very, very emotional and personal film for the character. The likes of which we haven't really seen before. Like, I enjoyed the callbacks to Vespa from Casino Royale. I like that he went to visit her grave in Italy. I really, I enjoyed all of those callbacks. One big particular callback, kind of the massive plot point in,
I was not genuinely what you're going to
no,
say.
genuinely, the one callback that just fell completely flat was, hey, there's this new villain in town. He's called Lucifer Safin, and he doesn't really have a problem with Spectre that much. He doesn't really have a problem with anyone except for the fact that he does, for some reason that's never explained.
Yeah, because they killed his family.
Yeah, but every movie villain's family
Yeah,
was killed.
they've always killed the family. Like, that's
Yeah.
generic, isn't it?
I think what it was. See, this is the bit where, like, on one side of me, I'm like, I totally agree with you. It's like, it's really annoying. But on the other side, if I start to think about it, and it's one of those things where it will probably never be kind of properly explained or confirmed. But when Q explains how the family was killed, how they were invited to dinner with Blofeld, and he poisoned them using their poison, and I can't remember what it was called, some kind of dioxide or something.
Yeah.
And he described it as it's a horrific way to die. It's like incredibly painful and slow way to die. For me, I just, like, obviously he was so scarred, wasn't he? Because he'd probably been poisoned as well. So I just inferred from that he was just driven mad with pain, and the fact that he saw his entire extended family, because it wasn't just like his mom and dad and his brother. There was like that family picture with all the faces crossed out. There was like 20 of them. I was like, he's just watched his entire, like, family lineage just get wiped out in an instant, in the most horrific way that you can imagine. It's like eating.
Yeah,
from
but in the
outside.
age of like Thanoses and Jokers and
Yeah, but it's a
there's
Bond film. It's
yeah,
gotta be
I know, but
grounded.
we are in no, but that's what I'm saying. We are in the age of grounded villains, like villains that we can sympathize with. I couldn't sympathize with Safin at all. He was a lunatic. He was just weird.
Yeah, that's what I
And
mean. He was a lunatic.
and that doesn't make for an interesting villain for me.
Yeah, that's true.
There was nothing that grounded him.
You'll probably disagree with this, Joe, but I think Rami Malek was the best performance in the film.
Yeah, no, I can take it.
I think he was good.
Yeah.
I think he delivered the part well, but I would although whilst I sympathise with the reasons why he was doing, like, the character was doing what he was doing, I did think, yeah, you're right. It was a weak character in terms of what we've seen.
And
To
I
be
don't know whether
honest,
they lead into it because it's James Bond, but I'm sick and tired of just watching the typical villain with an Eastern accent and stereotypical disfigurement makeup. Like, how many times have we seen this? It's boring. I don't like. I think especially recently, like politically as well, there's been a lot of disabled people who have been speaking out against Hollywood's portrayals of movie villains always having to have scars or disfigurements or disabilities. And I think we spoke about this when Connor was on the show hosting, in that why did Safin have to have been poisoned by that gas? Why did he have to have been scarred? You can easily portray mental scarring and emotional trauma. I mean, God forbid, we are in the age where, PTSD unfortunately is commonplace now. It's a very common medical condition that people face, and that could have easily had been carried through this character, through the script. I didn't need that horrible makeup, really boring, cliched makeup to tell me that this guy had been through some shit. So that was quite boring for me. I think the biggest mistake they made with this villain was putting him in the same movie as Christoph Waltz, because to me, he's a fantastic villain. We've seen him in Inglourious Bastards. We've seen him in Spectre before as Blofeld. And I think that the big thing that they missed, the thing that was missing for me, was that Rami Malek's character could never quite live up to Blofeld, because Blofeld's been like, I love that line from Spectre where he tells Bond, "It was me, James. I have been the author of all of your pain. Like, I'm the reason that that Vesper was killed, and I'm the reason you'll never be able to be with Madeline." And so to then just have this like young Lucifer Safin come along and just kill all of Spectre like it was nothing, like it didn't mean anything. It was quite dismissive of the film, and I was talking to Ben about this before, that I hate it when franchises spend like installment after installment building up some kind of big bad organization or something that's actually got quite a lot of realism to it, and it's scary. Like Spectre is scary. Like when the more you think about it, this huge organization, it parallels a lot of things that we suspect about our own world. And and then what do? They kill all of them off. They kill off this huge organization that has existed for decades, if not hundreds of years, probably in the world of Bond, who have brought nothing but pain to this character that we know and love. And then they all get killed off by some lunatic with some facial burns.
It's like in Sherlock, like you have the whole thing with Moriarty, and then you get that really shit teaser when he's on the plane being like, "I'm back," and it's his fucking sister, and it's like, "Fuck off." It's like that. It's exactly like, it's so disappointing.
Yeah.
Like you feel disheartened by the whole thing.
Yeah. So for me, Lucifer Staffin just, thumbs down. Just probably one of the worst parts of the film. All in all, I didn't mind the storyline. I didn't mind this was a personal, emotional film for Bond. I didn't mind that it didn't feel like a Bond film, and that it was more of a romance, of like a James Bond has to rescue Madeline. He has to protect his daughter. I loved that. I loved that he had a daughter in this film. It made the stakes so much higher. But why couldn't it have just been James Bond versus Spectre for one last time? Like, if they've been behind everything for like 4 out of 5 films, why have this epilogue feeling villain, like this villain that just doesn't mean anything? So it was just frustrating, because I feel like we have been on this journey with him, haven't we? We've been on this journey with Daniel Craig. We've grown up watching these movies, and this is the last one, and I really wanted it to be so worthwhile. And this little shit with his burns and his scars and his vendetta, it was just boring.
I totally agree with you. I do. But here's where I kind of, maybe this is just me reading a bit into it, but this is something I started thinking about a little while ago, and I was, do you know what? In a way, it's so ironic and kind of poetic that of all of these villains that Bond is defeated, all of these people out to hurt him, out to get him, specifically him, for whatever vendetta or whatever reason, right? And he's managed to defeat them all, put them in prison, etc., whatever. The one villain who's actively not really trying to kill him is the one that ends up, doing the deed.
Yeah, it's like it's a villain that doesn't really give a shit that he exists. He's
Exactly.
he's getting in the way, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. He's just like I just want to kill Spectre because they killed my family, and in fairness, this bit really did annoy me. There was like he was trying to like kill the entire world with his genetic coded nanotechnology, and
Don't get me started.
he never ever explained what he was trying to do. It was just inferred from his mad scientist and the screen, and I was just like, come on, like give me the as cliched as it is, I want the monologue. Give me the speech. I want to hear Rami Malek tell me how he's going to destroy the world, and I want Bond to save the day. But you know what? Actually, I felt that it was a little bit poetic at the end, and I think the way that Bond killed him, whilst it was very Bond, just told you everything you needed to know about it. It just didn't matter. It wasn't about him.
Yeah.
And the fact he just went and then just walked off, he just completely didn't care that the guy had just attacked him. And he was just, it was about And I think this is what I would totally agree when you say, Joe, that this is the most kind of emotional and grounded Bond we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, he was so just like, he didn't care about the villain, he didn't care about killing him. He was just now heartbroken that he chose to die over actually living a life without the love of his life and his daughter. He could have quite easily just gone off back to his island and carried on living, and maybe like seen them on the other side of a glass wall or something. But you know what? He just decided, you know what? I can't do that. I can't live a life without being with them. So that's it for me. And I just thought it was quite, like I said, it's a very poetic way for him to go out. It just wasn't. It was kind of, he was the victim. He was kind of, whilst the very red-handed victim, he was it wasn't his fault. It wasn't Blofeld. He was dead. It wasn't anybody trying to get him. So I really enjoyed it from that perspective, and it really it's got me kind of excited for Bond going forwards, because I thought one of the things this film did very, very well was it separated the two icons that are 007 and Bond. So
Yeah.
the film really made a point of Bond is not 007. 007 is 007, and Bond is Bond. Now,
I love that, by the way. Their whole
brilliant.
relationship is amazing.
That was great. A very strong part of the film.
Yeah.
It was good. But it's very interesting, because what are they going to do next? Because obviously there's this whole debate that's been raging the past 5 years, while Daniel Craig is, oh, I'm retired, oh, go on, then I'll do another film. Oh, I'm retired now, oh, go on, then I'll do another film. Is A, who's going to be the next Bond? And B, are they going to diversify? Are they going to make it not a stereotypical white middle-aged dude? So I think it's really interesting, because there's a lot that they could do with this. If they brought out like a 008 film, I'd probably be interested. I'd want to see where they go. And I think one of this final bit of this point is, obviously in the prelude to the final mission, the new 007 says, I'd like to redesignate Commander Bond as 007. So she has effectively given up the title of 007. Now, we didn't get to know what her new designation is. It's just now that Bond is dead, but 007 is vacant. So, I think they could do whatever they want here. And that's just exciting. There's not a expectation for somebody just to replace Daniel Craig without even a word being said, like we've had in the past, going from Sean Connery to Roger Moore and Pierce Brosnan and all the others. It's like there's not just been, oh, it's Bond and it's just a new face and we've got to get on board with it. It's like, actually, they really could go either way here. They could do whatever they want, which
I think in the age
really
of like multiverses and multiple intellectual properties, I really can't call which way they're going to go now, because I was talking to you, Chaz, about this the other day.
I was going to say, we had a chat about it, and
I just always kind of assumed that it's a staple of the franchise that they recast Bond and you have to suspend your disbelief and you have to forget everything. This is a new Bond. Everything that just happened doesn't matter. Like, everyone was really attached to Pierce Brosnan, and even though his last two films were kind of mediocre, like, we all got to Casino Royale and we were like, right, okay, James Bond, he's not 007 yet. Oh, okay. Now he's 007 at the end of the movie. So then we were like, oh, is it a prequel? And then I guess this was a whole new generation of Bond fans, so that we just kind of had to accept it. But now, it's almost, well, it's not quite 20 years later, but it's a decade and a half later, and we're at this point now where, okay, well, if we can have 3 different live action Spider-Men on our screen and we have to suspend our disbelief for
Spoilers.
that. Well, we don't know yet, but
isn't that trailer out soon though?
I think November or something. They're probably going to release it alongside the Eternals. But I don't know which way they're going to go. Like, are they going to say that the character of James Bond is officially dead now, or are they going to have another one, or are they just going to carry on with the 007 tag?
I said to you, Joe, didn't I, that I think 007 from this film will like raise the kid, and like she'll be a 00 agent. That's what I think they'll do.
Yeah, that could be a good way. I think this is the first time we've ever seen James Bond actually die.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it does feel quite definitive. Like, it is a statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
That maybe they are. I mean, again, like I said in my review of the film, that maybe the recent press around the character, maybe they are leaning more towards retiring the character. And the fact that he does die.
Yeah, James Bond as a character, but I don't think you can get rid of the 007 as a code name even.
No, and that's why I think I agree with Ben that I for one, I would love to see Lashana Lynch carry on as, what was her name, Nomi 007.
Oh right,
she was great, yeah, and I would love to see more of that. Maybe she's 008 now or something, or 006.
I would enjoy that, yeah, like a spin-off style, because
Yeah.
I think the worst thing they could do for me would just be to kind of try and rewrite Bond. Like, I don't want them to. Like, I think we just have to accept that it's a flawed character that was written out of time for what we are now in.
Yeah.
And I thought, I thought they did a really good job this film, and they probably would have. The uproar would have been crazy if they tried to, but there wasn't any scandalous treatment of women. It would have been quite easy for them to kind of have Daniel Craig and Anna de Armas's character just kind of, get it on in the back of the plane or something, halfway through, like the kind of what you might have expected from the old Bond films. But actually, it was just, they just kind of, they ran with it. They kept it civil and nice and still epic. It still was. She's now a very iconic Bond girl, and as is Madeline Swan and Moneypenny still kept that kind of character. So I thought it was a really nice grown up, like kind of a
it's
good
like a mature
step
Bond,
forward,
wasn't it?
a very mature step forward into the 21st century, bringing Bond kind of into the modern age properly. But obviously we've now got the slight issue that they've just killed Bond. So how do we where do we go
that's
from
why
here?
I think that's why I wrote in the review that never has a Bond film felt so little like a Bond film, and perhaps in this case that's a good thing, because you read my review, Chaz, and I think you read it in a different way, and I think I kind of like that, because I want people to read the review that we put out and try and figure out what I mean by that final line. And I think you can read it both ways. I think you can read it, okay, this doesn't feel like a Bond film because it is very progressive, but that's a good thing. Or you can read it in the way of, it doesn't feel like a Bond film because he's not a cliched womanizing creep anymore, and he's not running around shooting stereotypical Russians or Chinese people, and all of what made Bond in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is gone, from like a storyline point of view. We've still got the Aston Martin and the cool gadgets, and
the gadgets. Because I went to see it with my dad, and the first thing we said when we come out, we were like, "There's not enough gadgets."
Yeah,
like there's a bit when he opens the drawer and there's like a tea set there, and I was like, I want to know what that tea set does. I want to know if that tea set kills people or not.
Yeah,
I want more like odd gadgets, man. That's James Bond to me.
And I feel like that stuff is gonna carry on the franchise, like that, like all the stuff that built the franchise, like your weird gadgets and your cars and your fancy suits. They're all positive things about the franchise that can stay. The womanizing, the racism, the misogyny, like all of that, it has gone now, and I think that's why I wrote that it didn't feel like a Bond film, but that's good.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you really think there wasn't enough gadgets? I thought there was loads. We had the Aston Martin. No, we had the opening Aston Martin that had the bulletproof, the smoke.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen all that before. Do you know what I
mean?
The
watch that exploded that guy's eye. That was brilliant.
That was cool.
Oh,
that
was good. The EMP watch, yeah. And then we had the little lipstick which held the earpods. I like that. That was cool. I don't know.
It's nothing new, really, is it? Like every Bond film used to be like a new little thing, like Oddjob's hat or like the Golden Gun. Like there's something like in the old.
But you could see Oddjob's hat. It's just like Cyclops' eye. It was Blofeld had a bionic eye that allowed him to communicate with the outside world. I thought that was pretty cool.
Very true. Yeah, true.
I thought it was
it's just not as obvious. It's not as obvious.
But then again, I think the emphasis on the film was Daniel Craig's emotional journey with his family. And I loved, actually, that's just reminded me that I loved that bit when he introduces Nomi to his family. He's like, what's it, Madeline, Marguerite, this is whatever, Nomi, this is, and then it pans to his face and he's just like, he whispers, doesn't he? He like mouths it, family, and it's like almost like a question on the end of his tongue. And it's
very foreign for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like he looked uncomfortable. I think it was so well done. I really loved that. And then so I don't know. I thought there was enough gadgets for me personally, but yeah, if they do a new
Oh,
film.
come on, you want to know what that tea set does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the note that you just talked about, credits to Lea Seydoux for playing one of the most grounded Bond girls. I think she was great as Madeline. I really believed her. Her performance was so emotional. When she was shaking before she re-met Blofeld in the prison, that whole scene just gave me chills. And again, adds to my point that I was more captivated by Blofeld than I would ever have been by, what's his face, Scarface. So
Rami Malek.
yeah, there we go, that one. So yeah, huge hats off to them. So yeah, I think I agree with all these points. And I think it's reassuring me that I think I put the right review out there, for sure. It was actually also the first Bond movie to feature all of those iconic characters like Q, Felix, Moneypenny, M. Because all of them in one film hasn't been seen since License to Kill.
Wow.
In like 30 years. Like we've always just had M or Felix, or then we had Moneypenny and the new M.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of M, just little sidetrack here. Oh my gosh, M was good in this film. M was like complicated.
It's Ray Fiennes, mate. What do you expect? The man is an
I know, but
artist.
he's done one now, as he did. Spectre was his first.
No, he was in Skyfall as well.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But like M was like, was kind of almost in a way like from, because obviously we've watched the entire film from Bond's perspective, and Bond was looking in from the outside, and I was getting like villain vibes of M at the start. Like why did you why did you keep Heracles a thing? Why did you I was like, whoa, what's M done? Like, M's like proper gone off the rails here. And then I just loved that scene at the end, when M rings the Admiral and is like, Admiral, it's M. And the Admiral's just like, what's my orders? And it's just like, boom.
Big dick energy.
Like, yeah, just like absolute power play, like straight over the top of it. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, so cool. I absolutely love that.
Little Easter egg as well, like big shout out to the absolute queen that is the original M. There was a portrait of her in the corridor, if you noticed. Yeah. Beautiful woman. But then I'm also really glad that Ray Fiennes as M got that nice quote at the end of the movie, where he in the eulogy that they have privately together. Then they say, I think he said that the proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. No time to die. No, that wasn't at the end, but
imagine how much that would have ruined the film.
Yeah. Which brings me to probably the final point I want to make about the film. I hated the last 30 seconds. Absolutely hated it. The cheesy drive-by. Do you want to know a story about a man called Bond? James Bond. I was like, why? Just like, why couldn't they have just ended it with that lovely speech that M made? Like, I didn't need some CGI cliffside with like oversaturated. Yeah, the cliff was 100%. They couldn't go anywhere to film this movie because of COVID. Like they couldn't. They had to do reshoots and they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that island that was meant to be in between Japan and Russia, it looked very like Shetland,
Yeah. So yeah, I just hated that. I didn't mind that she was they were showing us that she was happy with her daughter. That was fine. But why did she have to say, I'm going to tell you a story about a man named Bond, James Bond? I was like,
It's iconic, man. That's why. It's
iconic.
They
already did
that was so cheesy, though.
Like halfway through the film.
Yeah.
They already did that line. And I was like, that's enough. Like, we don't need it.
It's like, we don't need any more than one, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Just one is fine.
It's just one of them, isn't it?
It was just cheesy. Cheesy.
I don't think. Come on, let's be honest here. I think maybe there's a couple of Daniel Craig films where this probably isn't the case, but I don't associate James Bond to be not cheesy. Do you know what I mean? Like James Bond, there's always a cheesy line in there. There's always something in there that just kind of makes you like shudder a little bit. Like,
yeah, but if it's delivered by Bond, it's okay. If it's delivered by some French woman on a CGI cliff, like it's just a bit much, isn't it?
I suppose so. Yeah,
I don't know. It for all of the criticisms that I can give the film, like the ending, as abrupt as it was, I really liked it, and then for them just to slap that on the end, it was just a bit like, right, okay, I am ready to leave the cinema. So
was there any end scene credits? I assume not, because
I don't know, mate. I was already at Costa by then.
Yeah, I didn't stick around.
No. So would you justify 3.5 stars?
Nah,
Would you
still
reckon? No?
2.5.
Still 2.5. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. What about you, Ben? Out of
Yeah,
5?
I'm the other way. I'm going 4, maybe 4.5. Like I just love
Wow.
No, I just love it, man. It's for me. Do you know
If
what?
you keep giving things 4.5, you're not going to have any room for Avatar 2.
Nah, that's getting 5.5,
It's
5.5
like
straight away.
it's unrateable. It's that good.
Unrateable.
In Ben's brain, yeah.
No, I just, for me, it just holds. Okay, like I think if the film alone, you take everything into account, I'd probably knock it down a little bit. But do you know what? It's the first Bond that in my lifetime I have like watched start to finish. I feel like just feel a bit of an emotional connection to it, and it's just it made it got me. I felt it was a big occasion. It felt big. Not many films have that kind of personal resonance really with me these days. I love Avengers, I love Marvel, I do. It's entertaining, it's good, it's epic, but it doesn't really ever strike you in the core as much. Like it's a bit like me. I know we always have this debate about the Star Wars films, the sequels, the prequels, the originals, and I always love the prequels. And I think again for me, like they just have a personal resonance that it just makes me happy. It's like it's kind of deep in my psyche that's something I've grown up with and watched. It's like films that you can just quote because you watched them when you were like 12 or 10 or something. It's like
I
Daniel
completely
Craig's
agree.
Bond holds that place in my heart. So for me, I like it. I love it. I can
Nostalgia
eat it all
plays
day. Exactly.
such a huge role in our spectatorship, and I'll go out and I'll put my hand up and say I am a huge defender of the Transformers films. I know they're awful. I know they're terrible, but I absolutely love them. I really do. Like when I'm feeling sick, I stick
every
them
day,
on.
then, mate.
Yeah.
Imagine being a kid though and growing up with the new Star Wars films and actually unironically liking them.
Mate, please don't get me started. My girlfriend's younger sister, she's 14, 15 maybe, and she's recently been given free reign of like the streaming sites because she's old enough to watch what she wants
she's
now.
just like
So she's just been
Wars.
she's been binging Avengers, to be fair. Like she loves the Avengers. Like I've been recommending like good sci-fis for her to watch because they live in quite a tight ship in that house. So I think my girlfriend's mum and dad are quite protective of video games and movies and stuff. But no, the younger sister has been given free reign, and when I went to visit them in Italy over the summer, I had a conversation with her, and I was like, "Oh, so I hear you're watching all the Star Wars now? Like you've finally been allowed to watch the more grown-up ones. Yeah, which one's your favorite?" And she was like, 9.
Oh no!
And I was like,
shame.
And then this was at the dinner table, by the way, and then my girlfriend's dad,
cough your food out and like, oh my god,
yeah, almost, but thankfully, like the sophistication at the table was brought back up a notch because Kiara's dad, he's in his 50s. He just looked at me with like such seriousness. He was like, "Why? What's yours?" And I was like, "The Empire Strikes Back," and he was like, "Good."
That's when you say 9 as well.
9.
9.
Yeah. So I think I feel sorry for kids whose first memories are the new ones, but. As long as they've got your audio description scripts, mate, they can't go wrong.
Be sorted, lad. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, anyway, I think we should wrap up there. But if you have been listening to this podcast, do go and check out No Time to Die. It's in cinemas. It's making a shitload of money at the box office. It's on like 121 million so far. So it's a really positive thing to hear because cinema is back, and I can't be more ecstatic about it. Ben and I are going in 2 weeks to see Dune in the IMAX.
I can't
wait for that. And yeah, expect that review as well ASAP. But until next week, I think we're looking at Bo Burnham. So that's going to be dropping on Monday or Tuesday, something like that. If you haven't checked that out, you can go and watch that on Netflix now. Is it Bo Burnham? Is it Inside
yeah.
Bo Burnham? Great things from what I've heard, so I'm going to watch that over the weekend. But until then, this has been Joe, Chaz, and Ben from the Shoal Weekly podcast, and we cannot wait to bring you another episode next week. Bye bye.
The name's Shoal.
Shoal.
I don't say.
Yeah, we don't watch movies together.
Not pussies.
we don't do a podcast about we do a podcast about film, but we all fucking hate each other. We don't actually spend any time together.
We don't even like film.
This is all being recorded as well. You could use this in such a dirty way. I like you, Charlie. No, you don't. I've got a recording that says otherwise.
I've got hard evidence.
Hard evidence. I'll give you hard evidence.
You promise?
Yeah, I promise.
That's good at the end.
No, don't.
No, please, no. Not the Muffin Man.
Not the gumdrop buttons.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man.
Who lives on Cherry Lane? Not the gumdrop buttons. Fuck's sake.
That's good at the end. Do you know the Muffin Man?
Can we do Shrek sometime?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yes.
That'd be sick.
Shrek 1, 2, and 3, and 4. We'll do them all.
There's a fourth.
It's not 4, it's forever, actually.
Oh, right, okay. Ooh.
Is it like the number written as a number 4?
No, it's like
Oh,
Shrek
that's
forever after.
It
It's
should have
like-
been forever, like with
Yeah.
written as the number 4. They've missed a trick
Hey, that
there.
would be good there.
There we
No,
go.
it's about like Fiona's cousin or something, who's like meant to be like the rightful king or something. And it's-
Incest.
no, not to marry. There's no incest. Jesus.
Okay,
Donkey
let's do
Shag's a dragon. Incest isn't a thing in the Shrek world.
it. Let's do it.
More specifically, a donkey had babies with a dragon. Never mind shagged.
Exactly. Incest is like very low on the moral scale in Shrek.
Can we please isolate that?